5 Rugby myths debunked. Facts over fiction, the tropes, the timeline warriors, and the willful ignorance. Enough. Rugby thrives on myth the way a prop forward thrives on ale, head knocks, and little self-regard. Some myths are harmless. Some are lazy. Others have been repeated so often by people who really should know better that they have calcified into received wisdom and now sit immovable in rugby discourse, like that very same prop who has decided he is not moving for anyone. This is an intervention. 5 myths, 5 dissections, 0 sympathy for the comfortable ignorance that sustains them. Myth number 1. Rugby is too dangerous. Every time a high-profile collision occurs, someone declares rugby too dangerous. Delivered with the breathless certainty of someone discovering, for the first time, that contact sports involve contact. This myth has an almost ritualistic cadence. Yes, rugby carries physical risk. Always has. That's encoded in the laws of the game, the physiques of the players, and the fact that the scrum was not designed by a Putney Bridge childcare assistant. But what about the data? The injury rate at elite level sits at approximately 83 per 1,000 hours of player exposure. Sounds alarming? Context matters. Horse riding kills and seriously injures more participants per head than rugby. Cycling on UK roads produces a fatality rate dwarfing rugby's numbers over a generation. Motor racing, boxing, mountaineering, and recreational open water swimming carry comparable or greater objective risk. Even everyday life is more dangerous than many realize. Drinking alcohol, smoking, eating the wrong things, or crossing a busy road are all higher-risk activities. Every human choice involves calculating risk versus reward. Rugby is no different. Jeremy Clarkson, rarely rugby's welfare advocate, put it succinctly: the public seems to have bought into this belief that life can and should be run without risk. Life is for living. When I arrive in heaven, I want to be handbrake turning through the gates with my tires smoking and my engine on fire. Both observations apply. But let's be clear, accepting risk is not an argument against awareness. World Rugby has actively managed risk, tackle height lower revision since 2017, mandatory head injury assessment, HIA, protocols, transparent concussion management, and reduced contact at community level. The sport is honest about the risks, mitigates where possible, and ensures players know what they are signing up for. The responsible position is not hand-wringing, it's respect. Rugby players understand the dangers better than anyone. Extend them the basic dignity of that choice. Myth number 2. England has more players than anyone else. This myth surfaces in discussions about England's chronic underperformance. A vast player base should guarantee success, right? Empirically, this is almost entirely false. France leads the world in registered rugby players with approximately 542,000. South Africa comes second with around 430,000, and England sits third with 382,000. England has spent decades lamenting underachievement, yet doesn't even lead its tournament in terms of numbers. France's success comes from a deeply embedded club system and strong regional identity, producing generations of high-quality players. New Zealand offers an even more striking comparison. 5 million people, 150,000 registered players, 3 Rugby World Cups in the professional era. By the logic of the England myth, this should be impossible. And yet it happens. Pathway quality, cultural centrality, coaching infrastructure, and societal embedding of rugby matter more than raw numbers. Even tiny Gibraltar is telling. Around 6% of its male population plays rugby, but if participation alone guaranteed results, Gibraltar would be a semi-final contender. They aren't, but if you've never been to the Gibraltar Sevens, you've missed one of rugby's great weekends. England has a rich player base. They have historically been creative at squandering it. Size isn't everything. Myth number 3. The referee cost us. That match. Some rugby fans treat referees as omnipotent villains, personally targeting their team with the dedication of an MI5 operative. A single contentious decision in the 68th minute becomes proof that the referee caused the loss. In reality, they are almost always wrong. Test outcomes correlate far more strongly with line-out success, breakdown turnovers, and territory management than with penalty differentials. Across multiple Six Nations seasons, teams winning fewer penalties still claimed a significant proportion of victories. The referee who awards a 50-50 call does not cause a team to concede 3 tries in the third quarter. A missed touch finder, a collapsed lineout, or failed breakdown play. Those are the causes. This is not to absolve referees entirely. Inconsistencies exist. How high tackles are policed, how breakdowns are judged, and variations in citing processes. Legitimate grievances exist. But the match isn't lost because of an official. It's lost because of the players. Accept this reality. Your team's results won't improve overnight, but at least you'll focus on the right problem. Myth number 4. England is the best-funded rugby nation. England's £228 million RFU revenue circulates as proof that they enjoy overwhelming financial advantage. The conclusion? Any shortfall in results is catastrophic mismanagement. Reality is more complex. New Zealand Rugby generates roughly £135 million, yet produces 3 World Cup wins since 2011. Ireland, with far less, has topped world rankings for years. France and South Africa do not outspend England either. England's headline revenue is offset by Premiership clubs, which spend north of £200 million on player salaries outside RFU control. Governance challenges, divided strategic focus, and structural inefficiencies mean England's resources are far from optimal. In 2023-24, the RFU posted a £42 million loss in a World Cup year, a stark contrast to headline revenue figures. Meanwhile, unions like the IRFU and New Zealand Rugby integrate elite and professional structures directly, controlling both funding and talent pipeline efficiently. England may have gross revenue, but usable wealth and strategic clarity are what matter. And England doesn't necessarily have more of either. To myth number 5. Just blame World Rugby. Blaming World Rugby is often cited as lazy or misguided, but in many cases, it's only partially wrong. The organization governs the laws, referees, discipline, and tournament structures worldwide. It's the sole global legislator, and nearly every procedural step in international rugby depends on its approval. The 2023 Rugby World Cup generated roughly £500 million in revenue through structures World Rugby built and controlled. The same organization decides which referees officiate, which citing cases proceed, and which sanctions are applied. It marks its own homework with the pen it manufactured, on the paper it owns, in the room it built, with the only key to the door. This is not accident or negligence. It's a system intentionally designed without external oversight. So yes, blame World Rugby, but understand what you're blaming. Complaints are justified, but misattributing failures to them alone ignores the reality. World Rugby governs, it profits, and it controls the game, fairly or not. Conclusion. Facts over fiction. Rugby myths persist because they're easy, emotionally satisfying, and comfortable. But the facts tell a different story. 1. Rugby is physically risky, but not uniquely dangerous, and risk is actively managed. 2. England does not have the largest player base. Quality infrastructure matters more than quantity. 3. Referees influence outcomes, but players win or lose matches. 4. England's funding is substantial, but usable wealth and governance efficiency matter more than headline revenue. 5. Blaming World Rugby is nuanced. It governs and profits, but responsibility for performance is broader. The beautiful game deserves better than lazy narratives, repeated myths, and unexamined assumptions. The facts have always been available. Ignoring them is a choice, just like playing rugby itself. Fans and commentators alike should demand clarity, reason, and accountability instead of leaning on convenient fictions. Rugby is about awareness, courage, and facing challenges honestly. It deserves nothing less.